So, which is the best way to invest? Time, energy, money, research, all the above. We have your cryonics process, which is preserving the body at liquid nitrogen temperatures. And then ultimately, once the science comes into play, reanimating that body, reanimating that individual, bringing them back into the current world. Okay. And the other option would be to focus money, research, time, energy, effort, manpower on perfecting the human connectome project because that is going to allow us to digitize the consciousness, to upload that to a server, save it in a place where it's going to be easily preserved in digital space, and then take that and download it into a new body, which could be 3D printed, pieced together. You could even download into whatever it might be. And I briefly mentioned this in the other video about big projects, big ideas, the four ones, right? Let's just kind of briefly discuss some of the pros and cons about these. So, obviously, one of the pros of preserving your body is you're preserving something original, preserving the mind, the brain, and/or body. You're preserving something original. So anything that's in, it's going to remain intact. Theoretically, when you bring that back, it's going to still be there. If you believe in the soul's still attached to this vessel, whatever, and then that's a really good thing. Okay, we want to try to preserve. We want to try to preserve originals at all costs if we can. If there's a possibility to preserve originals, that's what we want to do. And one of the benefits, of course, of the digitized consciousness, focusing on the Human Connectome project, is that um, we can preserve the memories, the consciousness, uh, in a safer environment. There's no chance of loss really from oxygen or anything like that. Yeah, it could be hacked. There could be a virus, corrupt files, broken files, whatever. Those things could happen. True. But generally speaking, that will allow us to basically store that mind, that electronic consciousness, eConsciousness, um, for a much longer time than you can cryo preserve a body, theoretically. Of course, when we're talking about TI, I like to call it TI, the initiative, which is the cryonics based approach, we're looking at being able to preserve for some amount of time, but you don't want to preserve too long unless the technology improves, and then you can preserve indefinitely, whatever, and then reanimate. Well, what is some of the cons of these two as well? Well, let's look at cryonics, okay? Preserving the body, the mind. One of the cons is, of course, as I mentioned, um, you are not going to be able to preserve this as long as you could in e-consciousness, an electronic mind. Also, if you do the research and you read the articles, what the way that you preserve a body or a mind is you perfuse it with this super cytotoxic thing called a cryoprotectant. It's like aldehyde or some other type of chemical, whatever, C131, CP131, cryoprotect. I don't know what the label is on it. Okay, but there's probably a few different types. These things are really cytotoxic, and they pickle the tissue. They turn it into this, they vitrify it into this gel glass-like state where there's no ice crystals rupturing tissue and causing damage, but they pickle the tissue. And if you pickle the tissue, how are you going to unpickle How are you going to get all the cryoprotectant out when it comes time to reanimating? That's the problem. That's one of the biggest flaws in some of these uh, life extension companies is that that cryoprotectant's going to kill you. I mean, it's destroy. It's a destroyer of tissue. Basically, how do you unpickle a cucumber? I mean, a pickle. How do you turn it back to a cucumber? Can you? I'm not sure there's a way. I guess I could look it up and see, but I'm not sure if you can turn a pickle back to a cucumber. Can you turn cryoprotected tissue, vitrified tissue, back into healthy tissue? Don't know. Hasn't been tried. We don't know. So right now they're just preserving the bodies and saying, well, let's wait for the technology to come back. By the time the technology is here, we'll be able to do whatever with these bodies. Now, here's the thing, though. Okay, what are some of the cons of the one of the cons of the digitized memory, the e-consciousness? Well, it's not your original mind. It's not the original. It is a duplicate. It's a clone, an electronic clone, if you will. The body, none of that's there. It's just a mind uploaded, and then all the memories and stuff. That's a pretty big con. It could be hacked, hijacked. Maybe there's going to be laws or rules in the future that says, no, we cannot bring these minds back. We cannot body transplant. We can't put this into a new brain, into a new body, whatever. Can't do that. So there's that possibility. And also the con with the cryonics and reanimation is, well, what if they don't let you bring these bodies back in the future? Even if you can, what if there's a law put in place is we've got to destroy all these bodies, we can't bring these back, new policies in place? Who knows? What if a war breaks out? These bodies get lost, removed. Or what if you come back and you don't want to be here anymore and there's really no good way to take yourself out? So if you come back to the future and it's a really miserable place, then you're kind of stuck, right? Whatever body they give you. Maybe you're in one of those brains in a jar with eyeballs, or like in The Simpsons, or no, Simpsons, Futurama, Matt Groening, whatever, same producer, whatever. What if you're like Richard Nixon, the Richard Nixon's head in the jar on top of the robot body? What if you come back like that? Might not want that. Okay. There's all kinds of things to look at here. Cryoprotectant is a huge hurdle to overcome when it comes to whole body or neuropreservation, whole body cryopreservation or neurocriopreservation, cryoneuropreservation. We have a few different choices here. Also, we want to look at, you know, if we want to invest time, chances are we're going to be able to regrow bodies faster than maybe we can try to reanimate them. So the technology to regrow the body and download the mind into that body might be a better choice rather than try to reanimate. It's hard choice. I'm leaning more towards focusing on a human connectome project, getting everything mapped out with the brain so that we can upload these e-consciousness to the server and then download them into newly regrown bodies or newly grown bodies. Might be the best path to go. But there are your options. Think about it. Leave some comments in the box below. Which way do we go? Thanks for your feedback, guys. Till next time.